welcome back with me, Agustini Pujayanti. So, in this video, I will give some materials about direct and indirect speech or reported speech. Before we start, I will tell you about what we discussed today. The first is definition of direct and indirect speech, and then component and the changes, and last but not least, the exercise. So, let's start the lesson. Suppose you want to tell somebody what your friend Ria said. There are two ways of doing this. The first is direct speech and the second is indirect speech. The first way, you can repeat Ria's exact words without the change. The example is, Ria said, I'm feeling ill. So this type of reporting is called direct speech. Direct speech refers to the direct quotation of something that someone else said. It's sometimes known as quoted speech because we use quotation marks to show direct speech. So in American English uses double quotation marks, while British English typically uses single quotation marks. And then the second way, you can use indirect speech. So the sentence will be, Ria said that she was feeling ill. So when we tell other people what someone else told us without directly quoting that person, it's called indirect speech. And then indirect speech is also known as reported speech. In the reported speech, we write or present or in our own words what someone else said. Next, the components of direct and indirect speech. Both direct speech and indirect speech consist of reporting clause and reported clause. The reporting clause contains reporting verbs that common uses such as say, tell, ask, replay, etc., usually in the past simple. And the reported clause contains the actual words that speaker said. So the example, indirect speech, Ria said I'm feeling ill. And indirect speech will be Ria said that she was feeling ill. So the reporting verb is said, and indirect speech reporting clause is I'm feeling ill. And reporting clause is said, Ria said. So indirect speech, the reporting verb is said too, and then the reported clause is that she was feeling ill. Sometimes in formal or literary text, the reporting clause comes in the middle of the reported clause. The second component is reporting verbs. We use reporting verbs to introduce the information that was spoken previously. But direct and indirect speech use reporting verbs. The most common so-called reporting verbs are say, tell, and ask. Other reporting verbs include instruct, explain, mention, suggest, claim, and so on. So we will discuss about say, tell, and ask. The first is say. We use say to say somebody something. Let's look first at the verbs we've already talked about. The basic verb pattern for using say for reported speech is say plus that plus clause. So the example is indirect speech, I've already eaten. And indirect speech, it will be she said that she had already eaten. And then tell. Another hand, we tell, we need to use an object, a person who will we tell the information to. Tell has two structures. The first is tell plus someone plus that plus clause. So the example is indirect speech, I like coffee, she said to me. And indirect speech, it will be she told me that she liked coffee. When we are reporting orders, we can also use another pattern with tell. Tell plus someone plus to and infinitive. So the example, she told the children to go to bed. And next, ask. We use ask to report questions or requests. For questions, we use the pattern ask plus someone plus if or question word plus clause. So the example in direct speech, he asks me how old are you? So in indirect speech, it will be he asked me how old I was. For request, we use the pattern ask plus someone plus to plus infinitive. So the example, I asked Lucy to pass me the salt. So remember, the first two examples with ask are no longer real questions. So we use the normal sentence and word order. We don't use inversion. We say she asked them where the station was, not she asked them where was the station. It's wrong. Okay. And then reporting verb have several patterns, namely the first is reporting verb plus infinitive. The first like advise, agree, challenge, claim, decide, demand, encourage, invite, over, persuade, promise, refuse, and remind can follow an infinitive pattern. So the structure is reporting verb plus to plus infinitive. So the example in indirect speech, they agreed to lend him the money. And next, reporting verb plus person plus to plus infinitive. Reporting verbs that use in this form are the same as reporting verbs plus to infinitive. But the only difference here is adding a person after the reporting verbs. So the structure is reporting verbs plus person plus to plus infinitive. So the example in indirect speech, he advised me to change my diet. And next, reporting verbs plus that plus clause. The verbs like admit, agree, claim, complain, confess, deny, explain, say, etc. use these patterns. The structure is reporting verbs plus that plus clause. So the example is in another speech, he admitted that it was his fault. And next, reporting verb plus ing verb. Verbs like admit, apologize, or complain about, deny, insist on, mention, and suggest can follow an ing verb pattern. So the structure is reporting verb plus verb ing, and the sentence in indirect speech will be she admitted making a mistake. Then there are certain changes to be considered. If the reporting verb is in the present tense, we don't need to change the tenses. So probably we don't need to change the person from I to she. So the example, I like ice cream. And in direct speech, it will be she says she likes ice cream. And then, but if the reporting verb is in the past tense, then usually we change the tense in the reported speech. So the example is I like ice cream. So the indirect speech will be she said she likes ice cream. The changes in indirect speech to indirect speech, there are many rules for conversion from direct speech to indirect speech. These rules are as below. The first, change in punctuation. A direct speech can have question mark, mark of exclamation, or full stop at the end of a sentence. But indirect or reported speech has only full stop at the end of the sentences. So the example, he said, is he unhappy? So in indirect will be, he said if he was unhappy. So the sentence just use a full stop at the end of the sentence. And the second example is, he said, what a beautiful flower. So indirect speech will be, he said that it was a very beautiful flower. And change in pronouns. Pronouns should be kept in mind when you change the narration from direct to indirect. The change in pronouns of reported speech depends on the view of the reporter. So see the rules. The first change the first person, like I, me, my, etc., according to the subject of the reporting verb. So the example, direct, indirect speech, she said I had done my duty for my family and myself. So indirect speech will be, she said that she had done her duty for her family and herself. And next, change the second person, like you, your, and etc., according to the object of the reporting verb. For example, he told her you had prepared your plan yourself. So indirect speech will be, he told her that she had prepared her plan herself. And last, no change in third person, like he, she, her, etc. So the example is, you said she is writing a novel. So indirect speech will be, you said that she was writing a novel. Change in tenses. In the side column, you can see some changes in tenses from direct to indirect speech, as well as example sentences. So let's discuss one by one. In present simple, into past simple in indirect speech. So the example, she said it's cold. In indirect speech will be, she said it was cold. This pattern of past simple. And then present continuous into past continuous. The example, she said I'm teaching English online, and it will be, she said she was teaching English online. Next, present perfect simple into past perfect simple. So the example, she said I've been on the web since 1999. And indirect speech, it will be, she said she had been on the web since 1999. And then present perfect continuous into past perfect continuous. So the example, she said I've been teaching English for 7 years. And it will be, she said she had been teaching English for 7 years. Past simple into past perfect. She said I taught online yesterday. And indirect speech, it will be, she said she had taught online yesterday. And next, past continuous. She said I was teaching earlier. Into past perfect continuous, she said she had been teaching earlier. But there is no change in past perfect and past perfect continuous. So the example, she said the lesson had already started when he arrived. And indirect speech, it will be, she said the lesson had already started when he arrived. No changes in these tenses. And past perfect continuous, same with past perfect, no changes. She said I've already been teaching for 5 minutes. Under speech, it will be, she said she'd already been teaching for 5 minutes. And other tense changes, like will into wolf. And the example, she said I'll teach English online tomorrow. And under speech, she said she will teach English online tomorrow. Can into cold, she said I can teach English online. And direct speech, it will be, she said she could teach English online. Must into had to. Example, she said I must have a computer to teach English online. And under speech, it will be, she said she had to have a computer to teach English online. And then shall into should. She said, what shall we learn today? And then should, she asks what we should learn today. And then my into might. So the example is, she said, I opened a new browser. And under speech, it will be, she asks if she might open a new browser. And then change in adverbs. In adverbs, there are two: adverb of time and adverb of place. The first is adverb of time. The following is the adverbs of time changing from direct to indirect speech. Like now changes into then, today changes into that day, this week changes into that week, tomorrow changes into the following day, the next day, the day after. Yesterday changes into the previous day, the day before. Next week changes into the following week, the next week, or the week after. Last week changes into the previous week and the week before. Ago, previously, and before. Tonight changes into that night. For example, she said, I'm busy today. Indirect speech. And indirect speech, it will be, she said that she was busy that day. And then adverb of place. The following is the adverbs of place changing from direct to indirect speech. Here into there. For example, he said, I live here. And indirect speech, it will be, he told me he lived there. So that's all for our material today. As usual, to practice your understanding of this material, I provide 10 questions that you can access and answer on this Google Form link below. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video.